Let's talk about investing. Now, are you saving for retirement or just treading water? Are you depending on stocks or mutual funds? When diversifying, what you really need to boost your funds? Did you know it's easy to move out of an old 401k into precious metals like gold? And that's predicted to go up to about $2,500 an ounce soon? This could be the answer for you, so call the team at Noble Gold. Do it this month, and they'll gift you a free 22-karat American Eagle coin. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Let's talk about being prepared. Aren't you ready for life to get back to normal? I know I am, but there's one thing none of us can afford to ignore. Another crisis can happen at any time without warning. But this time you can have peace of mind knowing you're prepared in advance for whatever happens. So ask yourself, do you have enough food, water, emergency supplies to get through the next time? If not, you need to check out My Patriot Supply. They're America's leading preparedness company, and they'll help you become happily self-reliant. Their mission is your survival. Their food is delicious too and stays fresh up to 25 years, so it'll be there when you need it. You won't have to worry if something bad happens. You'll be well prepared. Order today and your food will be delivered in 2 to 3 days. Go to preparewithx22.com right now and do what you know you need to do. That's preparewithx22.com. Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 2486, and today's date is May 24th, 2021, and the title of the episode is Information Waterfall, Public Awareness Kills All Protections. Buckle up, traders. Let's get right into the economic collapse news. Now, Trump and the Patriots, they knew they were going to have to counter the private Western Central Bank, the deep state, fake news. And they knew that they were moving this entire world, not just the country, but the entire world into this great reset. Something the people definitely would not want. Yes, they were going to use these incredible cover stories to make it seem like it was incredible. It's almost like receiving a brochure of something that sounds too good to be true. And then all of a sudden, you go ahead and you make that purchase. And you start to realize, wait a minute. This is not what the brochure said. This is what the private Western central bankers are trying to do here. They're trying to bring us into their new economic system. And their new economic system will never benefit the American people or the people of the world. I do believe Trump and the Patriots, they knew that they needed to counter this and stop it before it gets started. It doesn't mean the private Western central bankers aren't going to continue with their agenda, because they are. Remember, if their events fail, they regroup and they try other events. The problem with that is that as they continually do this, more and more people wake up. As more and more people speak about it, people start to understand what's really going on. Just like if you go back a couple of years ago, nobody really knew about the Federal Reserve. Everyone thought it was part of the government. Yes, there are still people out there that think it's part of the government, but when they speak to other people, people fill them in that, no, this is a private corporation. That we, the people, we don't create our own currency. We kind of farm this out to a separate company to do this. Why would we do that? The founding fathers never wanted this. But this entire process, everything that we are witnessing right now, it's to wake the American people up. It's to make them understand that the central bank economy, where they want to bring us, will not work. Now, remember, Biden, he's a puppet. He's following orders from the puppet masters. And they're telling him which direction we need to go. This is why when he first came into office, he started to reverse everything. If you notice, Trump really concentrated on the economy in his 4 years in his presidency. Removing regulations, cutting taxes, renegotiating trade deals. Yes, he wanted to get rid of NAFTA, but it was so tied up in Congress, it'd be impossible, and this is why he had to completely renegotiate it. Place tariffs on China to show the American people that, look, we can bring back our industries. All we have to do is shut down the globalist agenda. That's really what he did in his 4 years. He was shutting down the globalist agenda. so people could see clearly for the first time. Now we're in this second phase of this economic eye opener where people need to see what they have planned. And when people see this, and especially hardworking Americans who go out and they work every day, they get their paycheck, they pay their bills, they support their families or just themselves, they understand what happens when something changes in the economy where it doesn't benefit them. And when you can see this very, very clearly, this is when people start to speak out. I mean, let's take, for example, what's been happening in this economy. It's getting worse and worse as time goes on. Benny Johnson put this out. This is Joe Biden's America. And you have two columns here. 2021 with his Joe Biden, 2020 when Trump was in office. So 1,000 feet of lumber board was $304 with Trump, $1,500 with Biden now. Went up 5 times or so. If we look at 1 gallon of gas, it was $1.95. Now it's at $3.05. Going back to Trump, 1 ton of wheat was $183. Now it's $251. 1 ton of coal was $39. Now it's $80. 1 bushel of corn, $3.43. Now it's $6.86. And this was just in the first 4 months. We saw these changes. Now think about what the private West and central bankers are planning to do here. Why do they need fuel costs to go up? To convince everyone we need to go into green energy. Why are we seeing inflation in other areas? Because the Federal Reserve note is losing value every single day. Remember, there's many different agendas associated with this, but their main agenda is to shift us to their new system. Now, Trump and the Patriots, they wanted everyone to see this. They wanted everyone to recognize what they're trying to do here. Just like when they make all the promises about what they're going to do with the economy. We're going to get rid of your debt. We're not going to tax those people making $400,000 or more. I'm sorry, it's $200,000 for each individual. And when they break their promises, this is something the Patriots want everyone to see. Because when you break the promise and you promise everyone all these different things when you're trying to get elected, and then you go back on it, if you remember back to Bush, no new taxes, and what did we have? We had new taxes. You can see very, very clearly. Now, remember, all those people that Biden promised that we're going to get rid of their student loans. We're going to have student loan forgiveness. Well, it seems he's backtracking on that already. He's going to be taking it out of the budget. Now, remember, there were certain people that were pushing for this, like Senator Elizabeth Warren. We had Chuck Schumer, Representative AOC. And now Biden is saying, no, we can't do this. This is something that we cannot do. Now, does this mean they're not going to try to push him into putting it back in there? They might. But all those people that believed him, that he was going to take their debt and just wipe it out because they decided to go to school. Now, remember, college is not for everyone. Actually, most of the colleges, they don't even give you anything. And I'm talking about an education where you can go out and work. You have no skills. You come out with a degree, and most of the degrees are just a waste of time. There's no skills behind any of these degrees. People actually, most of the people that graduate don't know how to do anything. And I'm not talking about being a teacher, an accountant, a lawyer, a doctor. I'm just talking about just getting a degree and not having any skills for the real world. And this is where the kids today are getting into trouble because they believe that if I go to college, I get this degree, I'm going to be getting this 6-figure salary. And I'm going to be said, a lot of people that I know, they're having trouble finding work. And they get upset. And this is how the deep state, the D's, the invisible enemy can use them. Because now they're angry at the system. They have the student loans. They're not making money. And the deep state, the invisible enemy, can take these kids and say, we have a better way. It's because of America the way it is. That's your problem. And we can see this is exactly what's going on today. But the people of the United States had to see all of this. The people had to see how these certain politicians go back on their promises. And when this goes through without it, people are going to be angry. Now remember, this is all about showing the people the private Western central bank's plan, because this is really not Biden's plan. This is the private Western central banker's plan, the invisible enemy, the deep state. He's just taking orders. Yes, sometimes he pushes back and then they say, no, this is what we're doing. And then he goes ahead and he falls in line and he does what he has to do because he needs to follow what they're saying. But the people must see all of this because it's been hidden from the people for a very long time. Trump, when he came into office, he wanted to show everyone, look what the economy can do. Even though that we're playing in this private Western central bank illusion, look what we can do with the economy. And all he did was made small little changes. Let's just get rid of 8 regulations for every new one. You know what? Let's just cut some taxes. We can become energy independent. Let's renegotiate some trade deals. Let's revitalize these industries that were decimated. We'll just place some tariffs on China because remember, the private central bank, they moved the manufacturing to China and other places. So if we place tariffs on them and it costs them a lot more money to export into the U.S., well, the industries here can start up again. And this is exactly what he did. To show people when the deep state comes in, when the private Western central bank pushes their agenda, it shows the people what their true agenda is and how they reversed everything that Trump did. And now you can see inflation very, very easily, which means the devaluation of the dollar. The same thing with gold, silver, and crypto. Yes, they're going to try to control this. Yes, they're going to use every possible asset to push people away from these currencies. They don't want people to know that they have another choice. They don't want people to know that the entire system is imploding because of the private Western central bank, because it's the way their system is designed. Their system is designed to only last a certain period of time when you're on full fiat. That's between 45 and 50 years. Yes, you might be able to stretch it out a little bit longer. But people now, they're watching everything, they're observing everything, and more people are asking questions of why all of a sudden in 4 months is everything going backwards? Why are we going back to where we were? This doesn't make any sense. Why do I have to pay more money for things? And as this continues and promises are broken, you get to see the plan. People question the plan. Now, I do believe moving forward, we're going to see the people of this country and around the world make the decision of which direction they want to go. As more and more people learn about what's going on, understanding what's happening, you'll see people shift and they'll take part of their fiat, they'll move it into gold, they'll move it into silver or crypto. And you'll see those markets start to move up. Now, does that mean the private Western central bank is not going to try to push it down? Yes, because if they just remove the manipulation, they didn't use information to bring certain things down, what would happen? People would notice how bad the fiat system is. It wouldn't take that long. It would probably take less than a week. Because all of a sudden, gold, silver, and if you look at usdebtclock.org, gold, silver, it's supposed to be 34,000 if you use a 1913 calculation and 4,700. Remember, gold doesn't change. An ounce of gold is an ounce of gold. It's the paper currency that is changing. That's why when the private Western central bank comes out and says, listen, cryptos, it's volatile. No, that's not what's volatile. It's the information that they're using to manipulate the crypto world, and the Federal Reserve note is losing value. That's why you're seeing the swings up and then they use information to bring it back down. They did the same thing with gold and silver. They use the paper market. Actually, they control the stock market. This system that we're in is a controlled private Western central bank system. It's not free and open. The markets are controlled. The interest rates are controlled. The bond market's controlled. The derivative market's controlled. And they control alternative currencies. But like I said before, the people in the end will make a decision. And to make this decision, they need to see the private Western Central Bank plan. And this is just the beginning phases. This is going to get worse as Biden stays in the White House and as the private Western Central Bank pushes their plan. People are going to see this very, very clearly. And they will make that decision of where they want to go, because the private Western Central Bank, they know their system is dying. Remember, their stimulus, where they had governments borrow and borrow and borrow, then take those funds, give it to the people. They never wanted the world economy open again. They wanted it closed. They wanted people receiving these funds. This way, they can blame it on the pandemic. They can blame it on governments. But now when everything is open up, when the pandemic is disappearing, who can they blame? No, you can make the case that it's their fault. This is their system. It doesn't work. It doesn't benefit the people. And as it gets worse and worse, people will notice. They noticed this in Germany. Back before World War II, Weimar Germany, people noticed that you needed a lot of currency just to buy a cup of coffee, and it got worse every single day, and they wanted change. Now, of course, what was introduced to them was not the change that we really want, but the people, they were so desperate, they needed something else because they couldn't live. Today, we already have an alternative. Yes, you can go into gold and silver. I believe that's a great store of wealth. But to conduct business every day, I do believe cryptocurrency is going to lead the way. And the people, they're going to be in total control. Let's talk about being prepared. Aren't you ready for life to get back to normal? I know I am, but there's one thing none of us can afford to ignore. Another crisis can happen at any time without warning. But this time you can have peace of mind knowing you're prepared in advance for whatever happens. So ask yourself, do you have enough food, water, emergency supplies to get through the next time? If not, you need to check out My Patriot Supply. They're America's leading preparedness company, and they'll help you become happily self-reliant. Their mission is your survival. Their food is delicious too and stays fresh up to 25 years, so it'll be there when you need it. You won't have to worry if something bad happens. You'll be well prepared. Order today and your food will be delivered in 2 to 3 days. Go to preparewithx22.com right now and do what you know you need to do. That's preparewithx22.com. Let's talk about investing. Now, are you saving for retirement or just treading water? Are you depending on stocks or mutual funds? When diversifying what you really need to boost your funds? Did you know it's easy to move out of an old 401k into precious metals like gold? And that's predicted to go up to about $2,500 an ounce soon. This could be the answer for you, so call the team at Noble Gold. Do it this month and they'll gift you a free 22-karat American Eagle coin. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Now, the deep state, the fake news, the corrupt politicians, they're losing their grip on the population. Because when the people of this country, when they wake up and they see what's happening, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, the fake news, big tech, they can't control the people anymore. Remember, with public awareness, it kills all protections. So think about it. Once the people learn about a certain subject or what's going on, can the fake news, can the corrupt politicians still use that? No, they cannot. Because now the people, they're doing their own research. They're starting to understand. Just like with Wuhan right now. The information is coming out saying this did not naturally occur. Actually, Fauci has to admit this. And now they're investigating the origins of COVID. Now, can the fake news try to spin this? Can the corrupt politicians say, you're wrong? No. See, the American people and people around the world, once they hear this, once that information is out there, people start to look into it. And now they can't use this to control the people. And this has been happening with almost everything now. Remember, if you think that Trump and the Patriots, they're in a position of weakness, actually they're in the position of strength. Because all eyes are now on Biden and his administration, which is controlled by the deep state, the invisible enemy, the fake news, big tech, you name it. Trump and the Patriots now, they can put out information. They can control the optics. They can control the narrative, which way they want it to go. Actually, they have more leverage now than ever before. They got into the White House. They pretty much know it all. And now they're behind the scenes and they're controlling what's happening right now. And the people must see this and they must come together as one to go up against the fake news, to go up against the deep state, to go up against the corrupt politicians. That's what this is all about. It's about waking the population up, giving them the truth, letting them do research, so the fake news, the corrupt politicians can no longer control them. Why do you think Fauci's approval rating is dropping like a rock? Do people trust him anymore? No, why not? Well, first of all, he flip-flops, he tells lies, and now we get the information about Wuhan. People are losing trust. Why? Because they've woken up to the truth. This is what this is all about, because in the end, when you have arrests, when you show people that they were treasonous, when you show crimes against humanity, you need the people to understand who these people are. And that's why I do believe it's starting with the election, because what does this encompass? It encompasses foreign governments, the invisible enemy, follow the money, corrupt politicians, fake news, big tech, corporations, all involved to control the outcome of the elections. This is treason like we've never seen before, because they didn't want Trump to win. But the people of America, they wanted Trump in. Now, of course, we know that Trump knows it all. He caught them in the act. But again, optics are very important. Remember, the fake news, they still have the bullhorn. We have Hollywood, we have the sports organizations. This all had to be brought out into the open so people could see it very, very clearly. Now the people are learning all about this. This is going to make it a lot easier as we move forward. Yes, there are still people going to, believe what they want to believe, but the majority of the people are now pushing back. And as time goes on, more and more people are going to push back, because why? There's an information waterfall that is splashing down so much information right now, and more to come, that the deep state, the fake news, they're not going to be able to control this. And when they can't control it anymore, and the people start to ask questions, that's what this is all about, asking questions. Because if you use common sense and something doesn't make sense, you ask a question. And then when that question is answered and it doesn't make sense because the mainstream media is answering the question, you ask another question. And this continues. And this is what we see happening. Think about everything that we've seen up to this point. Think about all the information that was brought out into the open. Remember, if the deep state and the fake news was in control, there would never be an audit going on in Maricopa County. There would never be an audit going on in Georgia, in Michigan, in New Hampshire. Yes, they might control the top layer, but they don't control the bottom layer. And the bottom layer is the most powerful force in the world. It's we, the people. And when we, the people, unite and come together, doesn't matter what the top people say anymore. Doesn't matter what they do, what they report. They can't control the people. Why do you think these fact checkers now, why do you think they're backtracking on all their facts that they put out in the beginning of the pandemic? When people see this, when people see them saying, okay, that wasn't a real fact, we're sorry. Well, they don't really say they're sorry. They backtrack and they say, okay, now it might be a possibility. Well, that's not a fact checker anymore, because you're telling us this was fact and now it's no longer fact. People see this. Now, these fact checkers are just propaganda outlets. That's it. It's the same thing when Devin Nunes brought up the FISA memo, and he translated it completely different than Schiff. And the fake news came out and said, no, Schiff's is right, Nunes is wrong. And then it turns out it was the complete opposite. People are seeing that. Actually, Nunes right now, he's calling out Hunter Biden. He said the revelations in a new book that the President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, took more than 20 trips through Joint Base Andrews are more proof of utter corruption of establishment media. He said the fact that Hunter Biden flew through Joint Base Andrews during the Obama administration more than 20 times and to nearly 30 countries on 411 total trips per Secret Service records seems to contradict claims that Joe Biden made when he was running for president in 2019. Yeah, he lied. Of course it contradicts it. But the thing is, the information is coming out. When you start to put all these pieces together and you start to understand what's really going on, you start to realize what the truth is. Just like when the fake news came out and the big tech companies came out and said, yeah, that's not Hunter Biden's laptop. It was hacked into. But it's really not his. Except there's a signed receipt and the laptop. Oh, that's right. It is his. But what did the big tech companies do? They suspended people. They gave them strikes. They took their accounts down. And actually, the New York Post that wrote the article, they suspended their account for a period of time. Now people saw this. Now people understand that it was true, and big tech was protecting them. You see, sometimes when you see these things, and sometimes when you observe them, it might not seem like it's going your way, but when you look at it and you say, I see what's going on here. They're protecting Hunter and Joe because they committed crimes. Why would big tech step in? Why would the fake news step in? Unless they're working together. Now, what's very interesting is DeSantis is out there, and he just signed into law a bill that would allow everyday Floridians, including Trump, to sue big tech platforms for monetary damages. Now, this is very interesting. And if you notice, DeSantis basically is doing everything that Trump would do in the White House. But he's doing it for Florida, and it seems that Florida is the model. And it seems that they're trying to push big tech, Joe Biden, the invisible enemy, to push back. Because when they push back, you can see certain things. You can see their real agenda. Now, Brian Cates on Telegram put this out. In case you haven't noticed, red states are throwing up a firewall between themselves and D.C. on big tech, on the gender insanity, and the woke madness. On the rioting by BLM Antifa, Biden and Democrats only have two ways to go. The carrot or the stick, use enticements of federal grants and tax money to get states to reverse course. That will only work in blue states, or using the federal courts to try to reverse the state laws. Now, what happens when they try to do that? People see this. People see what's happening right now. And remember, the people are watching all of this very, very carefully. So, if Biden uses the Department of Justice, the Attorney General, to file a lawsuit to get this new Florida law blocked and then reversed, people are going to see this. And Biden, not Trump, is using the DOJ as a weapon. See, this is what everyone needs to see. And I do believe that Trump and the Patriots, they're doing this on purpose in Florida. If you want the United States and you want this type of country, this is what it's going to look like. Here's Florida. Here's the model. Look what the deep state, the invisible enemy, is going to do. They're going to try to reverse it and bring it into their world. And people are going to see this and they're going to question and say, well, why would they do this? What benefit is that for the people? Now, with all this coming out and DeSantis signing all this, Project Veritas is ready to release another video. And this is a release of two whistleblowers inside Facebook. And this is what Project Veritas wrote. This is James O'Keefe. He said, I was proud to stand next to Governor Ron DeSantis as he signed the SB 7072, a Florida law against tech censorship. Tonight at 8 p.m., we show you why this bill is so important. Veritas is set to release secret documents inside Facebook showing Silicon Valley executives will censor information they admit are actually true events or facts in order to protect their narrative and advance their political orthodoxy. Let's talk about our health. Collagen product sales are spiking in for good reason. Collagen is revered for giving skin its strength, elasticity, along with its power to reduce wrinkles. This isn't just hearsay. There's thousands of studies that back up these claims. However, typical collagen supplements you'll find on the store shelves usually don't work because they're filled with cheap or low-quality collagen and sometimes harmful ingredients, which leaves users unsatisfied when they don't see results. This is why you need to use multi-collagen. This collagen is a solution for aging that America is going crazy for. It's the best anti-aging solution on the market with the highest quality collagen blends our bodies need to look and feel younger. I recommend healthwithx22.com. Try it for 51% off by going to healthwithx22.com. They do all of this without your knowledge until now. Usually, I don't get behind legislation, but this is different. This is about something too fundamental. This is about retaking the public square. Now, we kind of knew all of this. We knew that they were doing this because if you just mention election fraud, they just take your account down. If you mention the WHO, they just take your account down. If you mention that COVID-19 might have originated in the Wuhan laboratory, they took your account down. So we knew that from facts and research that this would be a possibility, and it seems that all fingers are pointing to these certain things. We knew that they were trying to block all of this from the very beginning. When they tell us there's no such thing as election fraud, even though they didn't do an investigation, even though they didn't look into what has happened, even though they didn't question why the elections had to stop, even though they didn't question why all of a sudden the ballots just shot up out of nowhere and votes were removed from one candidate and given to another candidate, there's no such thing as election fraud. But when you logically think and you ask questions, you realize the fake news, big tech, corrupt politicians, their main agenda is protecting themselves from the big lie. And the big lie is that there is election fraud. They coordinated, they planned, they committed treason, and they stole an election. That's what they did with the help of foreign governments. Think about that for a second. Now, with Iran, Mike Pompeo tweeted this out about Iran because we know that Obama, Biden, they're in line with Iran. We know that Iran is helping Hamas fire missiles into Israel. Right now it's a ceasefire, but most likely they aren't done with what they're trying to do here. But Mike Pompeo, he tweeted this out. Sanction relief is the equivalent of sending pallets of cash and giving Iran billions of dollars with only emboldened more terrorism. This didn't work in 2015 and it won't work now. Yeah, because Iran is dictating to them what to do, not the other way around. Remember, Obama, Biden, and the rest, yes, they're at a certain level, but the puppet masters are above them. They're controlling them. Remember, this is not just about the U.S. This is about controlling the world. And they use the U.S. to do their dirty work. Now, what's very interesting is that with this whole pandemic, we had these certain mayors and governors telling us what to do, when to do it, how to do it, wear the mask or else. And then, of course, what happens? They don't follow their own rules. Now, Haley Mills Pfaffenberger tweeted this out. Monday, I'm going to continue to wear my mask in public, and I'm going to encourage others to do so. Lori Lightfoot. She's the mayor of Chicago. Well, attached to this tweet, there's a video of Lori Lightfoot at a gathering, not wearing a mask. Once again, telling you one thing and actually doing another. Follow their actions. And then we have, from the Bias News, CBS Chicago. Chicago Fraternal Order of Police issues vote of no confidence in Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Police Superintendent David Brown. It's not looking good for Lori Lightfoot. And then we have Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan. Remember yesterday we talked about how she was caught at the Land Shark without a mask? There was over 6 people there. Well, today she admits that she made a mistake. in violating the coronavirus orders at the bar. Now, wait a minute. Aren't these her rules? How did she make a mistake? She knows what her rules are. She signed off on them. The only reason she's apologizing is because she was caught. If she was never caught, do you think she'd say, hey, by the way, I made a mistake. I violated my own rules? No, she was caught because someone took a picture, posted it, it got out there, and now people are questioning her because the rest of the people, they're following what she wanted everyone to do. And she wasn't following her own rules. Remember, there's always rules for them and rules for us. And that's the only way, it's the only reason she's apologizing. Now, what's very interesting is that after all this came out, she rescinded a rule that limits restaurant tables to no more than 6 people, a day after she apologized. Amazing, isn't it? See, all these people with this pandemic, it's all made up. Wait a minute, why all of a sudden can she rescind this? Was she going to rescind it before? No. She did it because she got caught. All this is just their opinion. This has nothing to do with science. And if we look at Governor Newsom out in California that's being recalled, what are we seeing? This is coming from Benny Johnson, who linked to the election wizard, and it says Newsom loses big, order to pay $1.3 million in legal fees after shutting down churches during COVID. Now, remember during COVID, everyone thought all hope was lost. These governors can do whatever they want. But once again, just because you see them doing these things, it's actually not in their best interest, because in the end, the law will catch up with them. The rule of law will always win. It might take some time, just like the truth. The truth will always come out. Look what's happening with Fauci right now. Look what's happening with Cuomo, Whitmer, Wolf. These governors that shoved people into the nursing home and killed people. Fauci, who's the golden child, his approval ratings dropping like crazy. Rand Paul's pointing the finger at him, saying that you're wearing masks for show even though you were vaccinated. He says no. Everyone finds out he was lying. He says, no, I can tell you right now, we did not fund the Wuhan laboratory. You know what we're going to find out, don't you? Because they already have it. They already have the documentation. They followed the money. They know exactly what he did. He funded the Wuhan laboratory. He lied to Congress. This is all going to come back to haunt them, just like it's coming back to haunt them now. Actually, if you remember the post, it's all boomeranging back on them. They thought they were in control. No, this was a setup. This was a trap. This was a trap of the rule of law. They violated the Constitution. They wrote executive orders. They didn't use the legislatures. And the Constitution is still in effect. It wasn't suspended during the pandemic. It never can be suspended during a pandemic. And they violated the Constitution. Remember, the Constitution's always going to win. The Founding Fathers knew that we needed this document that will protect not the government, not the mayors, the governors, protect we the people. It shines the spotlight on all the people that go against it. It might not happen the first day, the second day, but as time goes on, the spotlight is moved and it's put right on them. And then all of a sudden, they have to explain everything. Look at Whitmer. She's trying to explain her rules. Look at Cuomo right now, trying to explain what he did. Look at Fauci right now, being questioned. They're all on the defensive. They're not on the offensive. They're on the defensive. They're asking questions because they did something wrong. They committed crimes. Now we see out in Alabama, we have another state that just signed a Senate Bill 267 to ban coronavirus vaccine passports. Now we're starting to see a lot of states do this, where they're saying, you know something, we don't want this. And as time goes on and more people get out there without the mask, without worrying about this fake pandemic, it was driven by statistical information, by fear, by the mainstream media. There was always cures for this. They kept it from we the people. Actually, this is the next thing that's going to come up. It's going to hit the pharmaceutical companies. It's going to hit governors. It's going to hit the fake news. It's going to hit all of them. Because look what's happening out in India. Remember, they tried to build this up, saying, whoa, look at this, another wave of COVID, a variant or whatever it is, and people are dying on the street. And then we had a video and we showed that there's nobody dying on the street. We had people in India, in Mumbai, saying, okay, here I am. It's in the middle of the day. No one is dying on the street. Everyone's doing business. But what has come out of India? Well, this is very interesting. In India, the health ministry, they're not saying quickly get your vaccine. They're saying, you know what you need to do? Take a tab of ivermectin, that's about 200 milligrams once a day, on an empty stomach for 3 to 5 days to help fight the virus, or use hydroxychloroquine and listen to what your doctor has to say and how to use it. This will help you. So remember, there's been over 200 studies proving hydroxychloroquine is a viable treatment against COVID-19. If there's a treatment that cures people, why do you need a vaccine? You don't. But this is something they don't want you to know. Why do you think Biden is becoming so desperate? Why do you think he's teaming up with Hollywood and you have the governors and mayors saying you can get your donuts, your fries, your lottery tickets, we'll just pay you $1 million? If you need a marketing campaign like this, if you need to convince people and push people, if you need to team up with the sports organizations, Hollywood, to say you better do this, if you have to threaten the people like Biden did, you better get it or else, you know there's something wrong. You know that the opposite should happen. And if there are cures that are out there that will cure the flu, COVID, and many other things, which I do believe that's what this is, and this is why they don't want you to know about it, why would you take the vaccine? Why would you listen to them? You wouldn't. And this is why it's backfiring on them. Remember, the cases aren't dropping because we're wearing masks. The cases aren't dropping because everyone is vaccinated. The cases are dropping because they recalibrated the PCR test. They brought it down from 40 cycles all the way to 28, and they're dropping it. Because they know the PCR test really doesn't show that you have COVID. Actually, the guy who created it told us this. Sweden right now is saying, yeah, this is unreliable, this test. And that is the reason why everything is dropping like a rock, because they changed it as soon as Biden came into office. But why did Trump decide to use vaccines? Because remember, the WHO, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, the fake news media, they said the only way out of this is with a vaccine. So if you produce a vaccine, you just counter their entire mission. And remember, the mission, their agenda was not just the election. Their entire agenda was to bring us into the Great Reset. And it had to be countered because millions more people would die. Now, what's very interesting with the January 6th protest, it seems that the U.S. government has seized 90,000 from who? John Sullivan. Remember, he sold the videos to NBC, CNN, and then he was paid like $90,000 or so. He was inside saying, we did it, we did it, we did it. Well, remember, he went on the different protests with Black Lives Matter. I do believe he's part of Antifa. And we come to find out that he was using a megaphone to instigate Trump supporters. So the Department of Justice filed new charges against John Sullivan. And according to court documents filed last week by federal prosecutors, Sullivan is facing new weapons charges. Sullivan, in a statement online and in reports, said he attended a number of Black Lives Matter protests last year, posted numerous anti-police and anti-Trump statements, and also allegedly posted on Twitter support for armed revolution. Remember, he dressed up like a Trump supporter to bring people into the Capitol. He wasn't the only one. And he was telling witnesses that he brought his megaphone to instigate and wanted to make these Trump supporters all up inside the Capitol. He used a lot of curse words there. That's what he did. That's what this false flag is all about, and now it's falling apart. Then we come to find out that the U.S. Capitol doors, they are controlled by magnetic locks, and they were locked, and the only way to open them was from the inside. So someone inside the security booth at the U.S. Capitol opened the doors. The people didn't break them down. They were let in. Then we had the video of a police talking to those people saying, yes, we would like to come in here. If you do it peacefully, you can come into the Capitol, no problem. We had another police officer who was out in the crowd when the barriers were being removed, waving people in. Come on in, come on in. So really, was this an armed insurrection? Oh, by the way, let's talk about our health. A new study released by the CDC reports that 49.1% of adults in the U.S. are obese. Typical recommendations for weight loss are to stay physically active, count calories, and cut out carbs. But if these recommendations work, then nobody would be overweight. The issue with these so-called solutions is that they don't get to the heart of the problem. This is why you need to use KetoWithX22.com. It is the quickest way I know to lose some weight. It works in a similar fashion to how the popular keto diet works. It melts fat, tones your muscles, and reduces cravings. So I recommend KetoWithX22.com. Try it today for 51% off by going to KetoWithX22.com. That is KetoWithX22.com. Let's talk about protecting your wealth. So, you don't get the chance to buy sunken treasure every day, do you? Noble Gold has secured some of the original 20 Liberty coins found in the wreck carried up from the SS Central America on the seabed. The fabled ship of gold sank in 1857 along with 10 tons of California Gold Rush treasure. Imagine you can have a chunk of this exclusive time capsule from the depths yourself now. Call Noble Gold at 877-646-5347 to reserve your treasure. That's 877-646-5347. They haven't turned up any arms yet. People weren't carrying thousands of weapons. This whole thing was a false flag from the very beginning. And now it's falling apart. Now, out in Cherokee County, Georgia, it seems that the people there, they decided at their school that we don't want the critical race theory and 1619 project. And the school board heard the citizens and they said, okay, we're done. We're not having it. Here's another place where it's happening. Everybody across this country, if you have children, they're in school, everyone needs to get out there and say, we do not want this in our schools. This is pure propaganda. It's actually creating racism and fake information. Now, with the election audits, what do we see happening right now? Well, it seems that the mainstream media, the fake news, they're getting very, very worried about this, and they're continually putting out fake information. Remember that guy that talked about the deleted databases? Remember he told everyone, and this is Ben Cotton, he said, listen, the databases were deleted. I used forensic tools to reconstruct the databases, and now they're no longer deleted. But the fake news is out there, and they're continually pushing fake information. This is what CNN said. Cotton did not directly acknowledge that auditors had erred and that characterizing the files as having been deleted was false, but his explanation made clear that the database has never been deleted. This is coming from PolitiFact. Trump claimed the entire database of Maricopa County in Arizona has been deleted. His statement came 3 days after the Twitter account for an ongoing audit of the 2020 election in Maricopa County claimed that the county deleted a directory full of election databases. A few days later, the head of one of the firms helping to do the audit said he in fact was able to access the data. There is no evidence any election database was deleted illegally. We rate Trump's claim as false. So here's Ben Cotton. This is what he said. My testimony on May 19th before the Arizona Senate is being taken out of context by some media outlets. To confirm, the databases directory on the EMS primary server, and this is capitalized, was deleted containing the vote databases. I was able to recover the deleted databases through forensic data recovery process. Now, Ben Cotton, he's the founder of Cypher, and he made it perfectly clear. So all these fact checkers again, what are they checking here? Here's the guy who made the statement. He even corrected it and said, no, you are wrong. But again, the fake news is fake. Now you know why it's called the fake news. Now, Javon Pulitzer, he put this out on Telegram. A few weeks ago, over 300 million lottery tickets were sold in 4 days. Within hours of the drawing, lottery officials knew how many winning tickets were sold, where the winning tickets were sold, down to the specific store locations. 4 days after voting is closed, some voting officials don't know how many people voted, how they voted, who they voted for, or what the accurate results are. The U.S. election system is broken on purpose. Yes, it was broken on purpose. It was manipulated on purpose. It was coordinated on purpose to cheat. This is a cheating system. This is not a free, transparent election. And they knowingly did this. Now, Code Monkey Z, he put this out. Is it a coincidence that the counties with the highest amounts of adjudicated ballots are also happen to be the counties which now are fighting tooth and nail to stop the audits? Because what can you do with the adjudicated ballot? Well, this is the ballot that is fed in. There might be a full mark. People might have used Sharpies. And the machine kicks it back out, says, I can't read it. So the person there, they decide what your intent was. Even if you have Trump filled in, they might say, no, I think it's Biden. And they change it. And then the machine, and they don't feed it back in, they just change it on the screen, and then the machine takes it as Biden instead of Trump. This is why they wanted people to use Sharpies. This is why they were using folds. Now, you can see how panicked the fake news is, how panicked the Secretary of States are, how panicked the county supervisors are. They're panicking because once the truth starts to come out, once people start to hear this, the mainstream media, the fake news, the corrupt politicians, the big tech companies, they're going to go into overdrive to shut the information down. Remember, this is information warfare. This is what we're dealing. We're not dealing in bullets, bombs, tanks, things like that. We're dealing with information. And how do you win the information warfare? Well, you try to block all the information coming from the other side. That's one way of trying to win it. But is that going to win it for you? No. Because people are very curious. People want to know the truth. When something doesn't make sense and it doesn't sit right with you, even if you want to believe the opposite, or it makes you angry to believe that this whole election was a fraud, you still question it. You still want to seek out the truth, even if it hurts. Some people might bury their heads in the dirt, but other people, they want to know the truth. Now, General Flynn, he came out and he said, think about this just for 2 seconds. Unreal how we've allowed ourselves to get here. We have no one to blame but ourselves. We need to bring election integrity and confidence back into our election system and processes, and the only way to do that is to get we the people involved at the local level. Local action achieves a national impact. Get involved. That's the reason the Founding Fathers created the Constitution and created it the way we have it today. Because the power lies on the local level, moving up, not the other way around. And this is why they want the people divided. This is why they try to keep the people separated, fighting each other. Because once the people figure this out, it's game over. And I have to say, General Flynn is right. Over the many, many years, we fell asleep. We let these people do anything they wanted, and they were able to infiltrate the entire system while we were asleep. And this is why it's called the Great Awakening. Because if we were put to sleep all this time, we need to be woken up. And it has to be a shock. It has to be a shot that is heard around the world. So people are waking up now. And more people are going to wake up when the shot is heard around the world. Now, if you look at General Flynn's post on Telegram, it was put out at 1333. And if you go to 1333, this is May 10th, 2018, there's an American flag and it says Castle Lock. Now, what's very interesting about this and this post that's put out now, Pelosi now is saying goodbye to the National Guard at the Capitol Security as their Capitol Security mission ends. So the timing is very, very interesting because now we have the election audit results. They're going to be coming out very soon. The National Guard is no longer in place. Think of 11-3, 11-4. And what's very interesting is that Dan Scavino put out 2 tweets. This one is with a golfer getting a hole-in-one. And in this little short video, which is about 24 seconds long, it says that he beat Father Time, got a hole-in-one. The time is 7:17. But when we look at this very carefully and we look at the time of this video, which is 24 seconds, and we go to post 24, it says something very interesting, and this is November 1st, 2017. Any person making statements they will not be seeking re-election was put in submission. For the betterment of the country, not all will be prosecuted, and all will do as told. You will see more of this occur, not normal, yet disregarded, and even on the D side. Now that's very interesting. Then Dan Scavino put out another post. This is May 24, 2021. It's the camera, which is driving down the road, and there's a waterfall, and the waterfall is coming down, and you can see the whole scene as you drive along this road. Well, this video was 37 seconds long. But if we look at the waterfall and we search in the posts, and I do believe all these posts are like an encyclopedia of information, it's also a way for the Patriots to give us some hints of what is happening or what we can expect. And they do this through certain posts that they use with timestamps and other things. So if you look at the waterfall and you search waterfall, you come up with 2 posts, and this is 2745. And it says February 17, 2019. Information waterfall. Buckle up. This is in brackets. Traitors. Then you have 3,340. This is May 23rd, 2019. And it says the following. Carter Page Public FISA. Now, that's very interesting because remember that the lawsuits, they're being dropped by the new Department of Justice because Carter Page sued. And now they're saying, yeah, it's no good. We have to drop the case. Under this says remainder are still under classification until today. Waterfall of proofs coming post D-class, which means it looks like we're getting a lot of information that will be coming at us. And it's going to be fast and furious. Then if you look at the timestamp of how long this video actually is, 37 seconds, this is a very interesting post. This is November 1st, 2017. It says the following. They are the true patriots. We will never forget. Let these coming days be remembered in our history as the time we fought to recapture the Republic from those evil, bad actors who, for so long, have sacrificed the good people of this land for their own personal gain. Fight the good fight. Let justice be served. And let justice be served is in all caps. I do believe their time is coming. Timing is absolutely essential. Optics are needed in this situation. And it seems that the spotlight is now focused on big tech, on fake news, on the Biden administration, the invisible enemy. And as Trump and the Patriots leak information out there, it calls into question everything that they have been doing. It calls into question what the certain governors, mayors have been doing. And as more and more people see this, more and more people wake up. So how do you beat infiltration from within? If there are foreign governments and the deep state players who controlled the fake news media, big tech, sports organizations, Hollywood, corrupt politicians, and many other people, how do you beat them? Well, it's very easy. It takes time, but it's a very simple plan. Public awareness. That's how you beat them. Because once you have public awareness, and it's like the Great Awakening, public awareness, making people aware of everything that's going on. Once you have this, and people know all this infiltration, all this messaging, and all this information that the fake news, big tech is trying to put out there, people no longer pay attention to it. People no longer believe it. And if you notice from the first day that Trump got in, to today, more and more people aren't paying attention to what they're saying. And as more and more information is brought out into the public realm, more and more people become aware. Once you're aware, it breaks the hold of these organizations. And once you break the hold, they no longer control you. If they no longer control you and you're thinking logically, does the infiltration from within work? No. You can't do it overnight. It takes time. And I do believe this is what the Patriots have been doing this entire time. Making people aware, waking them up, breaking the hold of the deep state, the invisible enemy. And as you break the hold, people now can think clearly. They can see clearly. I wish it would happen in a day. It would be great, but it takes time. It's almost like deprogramming someone who's been brainwashed. You can't do it overnight. It takes time. The same thing is happening right now. And it's gaining speed. It's happening faster and faster now. And it seems that the Patriots, they're ready to go after all these traitors. Yeah, I think we're going to hear the shot around the world. And it's going to be shocking. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.